Roberto De Zerbi has managed clubs such as Sassuolo Calcio, Benevento Calcio, Palermo FC, Shakhtar Donetsk, and most recently Brighton and Hove Albion. This is De Zerbi's tactics analyzed. Deeper build-up. De Zerbi likes his teams to play a possession-based style of football, focusing heavily on shorter build-up from the goalkeeper. His Sassuolo side recorded the highest possession share in Serie A in 2020-21 and the third highest in 2019-20. In the disrupted Ukrainian season of 21-22, De Zerbi Shakhtar Donetsk also came out on top for possession. He has used a 4-2-3-1 structure in his most recent jobs, with the exception of a 4-3-3 at the beginning of the 2018-19 campaign, shortly after taking over at Sassuolo. The double pivot is key to his team's deep build-up. Both at goal kicks and in open play, De Zerbi places the double pivots deep in an attempt to draw the opposition high up the pitch. His side then looks to play short further, encouraging the opposition to press before working the ball around the outside and usually looking to find the fullbacks who hug the touchlines. The goalkeeper acts as a third centre-back during his build-up, allowing the fullbacks to push further forward. After the ball goes wide, it is then reversed back into the centre-forward or number 10, one of who will have come towards the ball. The deep possession taken up by the double pivot creates space in the centre of the pitch for the centre-forward or 10 to receive, with the wingers placed high and wide to pin the opposing fullbacks. This space allows the centre-forward and number 10 to rotate freely and also for one of them to receive a direct ball over the opposition press from the goalkeeper or a centre-back. De Zerbi prefers his teams to have the ball on the floor and to keep it that way, but he's happy for them to play over the opposition if this is their best route out from the back. So the opposition fully commit to a high press and push an extra player higher to deal with De Zerbi's in position use of his goalkeeper, then the clipped pass over the press is an option. Therefore, the players in this defensive line need to have the ability and confidence to receive under pressure close to their own goal. Equally, his attackers must be able to pin central defenders and hold the ball up with their back to goal. Wide rotations. Once his team has advanced into the opposition's half, De Zerbi wants his players to occupy each of the spaces between and outside the players in the opposing backline. This usually involves a front line of 5 with wide rotation providing support in advanced areas for the centre forward and number 10. With De Zerbi's teams dominating the ball for long periods, the opposition will often drop into a deeper block, so his team's attacking play often requires intricate combinations in tight spaces. His teams only really attack at pace when they have drawn the opposition out and successfully broken their press or after regain through counter-pressing. The double pivot supports underneath the ball, taking up positions to allow them to cover in the wide areas and allow the fullbacks to advance. Attacks may use of both overlapping and underlapping runs, with De Zerbi's wingers able to drive around the outside to cross or cut inside before targeting the far post with an in-swing cross or shooting directly at goal. He tends to play with wrong-footed wingers. They provide a direct goal threat and will move into the inside channel when they play builds on the opposite flank. This means that the inside channels are always occupied, giving support to the 9 and number 10 and offering potential for close combinations to break through the potential overload and the opposition centre-backs close to the goal. The defence knowing to deal with the number De Zerbi's team has in its centre of the pitch, space appears for the overlapping fullbacks out wide. When a winger stays wide and doing so, pulls the opposing fullback away from the centre-back, De Zerbi's fullbacks are encouraged to make underlapping runs into the space between opposition fullback and centre-back, with a double pivot remaining in place and plenty of numbers committed to attack. De Zerbi sides aggressively counter-press in central spaces when they lose the ball. High pressing. Sassuolo press very aggressively under De Zerbi and Shakhtar use a similar approach. From their 4-2-3-1 structure, the number 10 cover the opposing pivot and the centre forward press across the pitch with the aim of locking play on one side of the pitch. The wingers narrowed and pressed inwards. Where possible, they force the ball into the centre of the pitch, where De Zerbi likes to deploy aggressive ball winners. The double pivot is primarily a defensive screen, but whenever an opposition central midfielder dropped, one of the double pivots was free to follow. The fullbacks were also expected to jump forward to press out wide. As a result, the De Zerbi requires extremely athletic players in those positions. With the central areas key to De Zerbi's aggressive pressing, the central defender will happily follow a centre forward who drops into deep positions, while a double pivot will fill in at centre back when needed, while they're also tasked with tracking opposing midfielders who make penetrative runs through the heat and heart of this team. It is a front-footed, out-of-position approach, but one that is varied and adaptable on a game-to-game basis, depending on the opposition. Conceding too many chances. Despite encouraging his sides to defend with an aggressive and intense press, his teams, in particular Sassuolo, concede too many chances. In 2019-20, Sassuolo had the 7th worst defensive record in Serie A despite finishing 8th in the table. Also conceded the most headed goals in the whole league. The previous season, 2018-19, Sassuolo finished 11th but conceded the 5th most goals in the league. His attacking-minded football brings goals, but with that comes too many chances at the other end of the pitch. Opponents often had success in wide areas, attacking the space left by the fullbacks who had jumped forward to press high. This is at least part of the explanation for the high number of headed goals they conceded. Even when they didn't move out far and the winger worked back to press the ball from behind, Sassuolo's inside channels were vulnerable to penetrative runs from opposition midfielders. They conceded a significant number of goals following these runs and early crosses into the area. This problem was exacerbated with a member of the double pivot move out to support a high press or attempt a regain in midfield. Sassuolo ran into difficulties when the opposition played around their high press and then quickly back inside into the space the double pivot had left. With the fullbacks ready to jump out whenever there was a chance, and often trying to seal a yard or two by moving early to anticipate a pass, Sassuolo were then too often hurt by passes around the corner into the channels. Equally with the double pivot or centre-backs jumping out to press the ball at every opportunity, they left space behind them for the opposition to exploit. It was therefore common to see Sassuolo's central defenders being a little more conservative in the defensive third, instead focusing on protecting the central spaces in front of goal. However, this led to other problems with gaps opening up between the fullbacks and centre-backs. Here, once again, crosses hurt them. De Zerbi has had a mixed ball of a managerial career, and his work at his prior clubs involves attaining top half finishes, with his tactical approach being called pragmatic by some football fans. Comment your thoughts on Roberto De Zerbi below. Cheers!